In the last video, you have learned about the YAML syntax. If you open the serverless.yaml file, you will see the service, and each service will have provider. If you are building the complex application, maybe you have 5 modules. Let's say we have a customer module, payments module, manager module, or what you can say products module. You can divide your modules into services. So you can create a separate YAML file for each service. Each service will have provider. I'm going to use AWS, and you can define your Lambda functions here. I'll talk more about resources and plugins in the later videos. I already showed you how to execute this function. SLS invoke. I have to invoke this function locally, and the name of the function, which is hello. First time it will take some time to execute this serverless function. Now you will see your status code and the body. What I want to do, I want to create another handler. Let's say you can choose any name. I'm going to create the source folder, and inside the source folder, let's create a job.js. What I can do, I can create a jobs folder. Let's create a new handler. Let's say handler.js. I'm gonna follow this pattern. I'm gonna place each Lambda function into a separate file. Let's say you can have create.js, list.js, update.js, module.exports.handler. Here is our Lambda function. I'm gonna use async await. It will take context and event. The first argument is event and the context. I'll talk more about the events and the context. Now you can return the status code. $200. Let's add the body. If you have to add the JSON, you have to convert into the strings. JSON string, a JavaScript value, usually an object or array to be converted. Basically, it would convert a JavaScript value to JavaScript object notation string. Let's say message, I am from jobs handler. So how can you configure into your serverless.yaml file? I'm going to add a new function. Let's say jobs. Here I'm going to write the name of your handler function, which is our Lambda function, jobs. Let's define the handler. Here I need to provide the path of our Lambda function. Inside the source, we have a jobs, and inside the jobs, we have a handler, and inside the handler, we have a handler function. Inside the jobs folder, we have a handler.js. Inside the handler.js, we have a handler function. Now it's time to invoke this function. I'm going to invoke this jobs function. Oops, it should be handler. That's why I got this error. I'm going to run the function again. Now you will see my response. Let's talk about the events. I'm going to create a new file, events.json. You can also send the input into the events. Basically, AWS provides a lot of events. Let me show you. Lambda events. AWS Lambda events. you can see these type of events. AWS supported these type of events. Some of them are S3, DynamoDB. Let me show you. Like AWS supported these type of events: S3, DynamoDB, Amazon Cognito, Amazon API Gateway. Amazon S3, when let's say we are building an application in which user can upload a photo. If user uploads a photo, then what S3 events will do, it will fire our Lambda function. Then we have to process some information. The similar stuff for the Amazon DynamoDB. When you want to save the data, Amazon will fire this event and your Lambda function will be fired. We are going to use Amazon API Gateway. This is the perfect example. You can invoke your Lambda function over HTTPs. It means we are building the REST API. Let's say slash get endpoint to fetch all the jobs. If user will send the request to the slash jobs endpoint, then Amazon will fire our Lambda function. Don't worry if you are not getting this concept. Don't worry. There is another example of events. Let's say we have another message. Hello world. So I'm gonna use this message. So how can you provide the events? If you check this SLS, let me show you. SLS invoke local. Please give me all the commands. Now you can provide the path to JSON or the YAML file. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna provide -p events event.json file. I also need to invoke the function. Let's say I would like to access it inside the jobs handler. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna return the event here. Let's say I'm gonna change this value. Say name of the job, Node.js developer, and it will return this event. Or you can log the event here. And the name of the function I want to execute, jobs. Now you can see that it has successfully logged this message. The value is hello world. Let's say I'm going to add another property. Let's say job title, Node.js developer. Let's say the salary, 1,000, 20,000. So I'm going to run the function again. I also providing the path of the event.json. Boom, you will see this property salary, title, and the message. I also want to talk about the context. What is inside the context? You can log the context here. Here you will see the context object. Inside the context object, we have AWS request ID, invoke ID, log group name, memory limitation, stuff like that, fail or done. It's information about this Lambda function. I'll talk more about how to use context in AWS Lambda. So what we have done so far, we have successfully configured our Lambda function, and you have learned how to use the event, the custom event, how to use the arguments inside your handler function, and you have learned what is inside the context.